Offices, Cowsgrave Road, Shepton Mallet. Today we are looking, this morning we're looking at an application I've just got the title of it, my apologies.
Wookey Hole Hotel.
Thank you. Okay, and today's first meeting is an application for a premises license in respect of the Wookey Hole Hotel. The author of our report is Jack Godley. But first things first, we need to appoint a chair for this committee. Can I have suggestions, please?
Thank you. Can I propose Councillor Simon Coles, please?
I'm happy to second that.
Thank you very much.
Not for this one, but some people haven't arrived, so maybe Jack can actually let you know more on the attendance.
Okay, well, we are expecting people. They've said they're coming, but they're not here by the appropriate hour. So I'm more than happy for them to join the meeting. And if necessary, I will slightly rearrange the running order so they have their opportunity to speak. Okay. Are there any declarations of interest, members?
Thank you, Chair. I have a minor declaration of interest in as much that... sorry, David. I have a small declaration of interest in as much as I know the Goodchild family.
Oh, right. Okay. Is that in a personal capacity? Okay. Right. Well, the proposed format is I will confirm that if a party is not present, their representation and application will be read and taken into account in reaching the decision. I will address any registrable interest arising under the Code of Conduct. I will consider any submitted requests from a party for permission or another person to appear at the hearing. If necessary, the subcommittee will retire to deliberate before making a decision. I will confirm that the hearing will take the form of a round-the-table discussion led by the subcommittee in accordance with this procedure. If all parties present confirm that they have seen and understood the procedure to be followed at the hearing and agree that they are ready to proceed, then I'm happy to commence the hearing. I would like to remind everyone that the purpose of the hearing should be borne in mind at all times, i.e. to enable those with the right to appear to amplify their written application or representation. It is also to assist the subcommittee to gather evidence and understand the relevant issues. I will confirm the advance papers have been received and these have all been read by my colleagues. All parties should only address the subcommittee in relation to the matters they have raised in their application or representations. Any party wishing to submit late evidence at the hearing will only be able to do so with the consent of all parties present and the consent of the subcommittee. I will confirm with all parties that they have understood the procedure and are ready to proceed with the hearing. I will ask the applicant whether they wish to make any amendments to their application with a view to addressing any of the issues that have been raised by representations from others. And then we will go into the order of the oral presentation, and I will start with the licensing officer, and then we will take any questions to the licensing officer, and we'll proceed on that basis. Can I confirm from the applicants you're happy with the procedure and you're happy to proceed this morning? So are you here, sir, for this item?
Sorry?
Are you here for this item? Are you looking to speak on this item?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Are you happy with what I've just outlined?
Yes,
And you're happy for me to proceed? Okay. Thank you for that. I just want to make sure everyone knows where they are and where we are. Yes. Yes.
I wonder if we could ask the gentleman to come and sit at the table as other persons, as he's formally part of the proceedings. So that's where we normally.
Yeah. Or the public speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole meeting is recorded. So to get your comments on record, you need to be at a microphone. Yeah, that's fine. I just as long as we. Otherwise, your comments aren't recorded, and that defeats the object of you being here. Well, I know, but it's the setup for audio visual. Okay, thank you. Okay. Well, we're going to start with the Officer, Jack Godley. I wonder if you'd be kind enough to present your report. Right. Of course.
Sorry, Chair, we just have some minutes to approve of the previous meeting as well before, which are in front of you on the yellow papers.
Ah,
yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I'll start with the introductions. My name's Simon Coles. I'm a councillor from Taunton, a unitary councillor from Taunton, and my colleagues are Tony Robbins from Mendip Hills and Marcus Kravis from
Dunster Division.
So, okay, thank you. Now, colleagues, is it your wish that I accept these minutes and sign these minutes?
Yeah.
Marcus, right, okay, thank you. I will sign those as a true record of that meeting. Okay, Debbie? Right. Jack, my apologies for the delay.
Thank you, Chair. This is consideration of an application for a premises licence in respect of Wookey Hole Hotel. An application was submitted for the grant of premises licence by Wookey Hole Limited on 15th February 2024. The application can be found at Appendix 1 within the papers. The plan can be found at Appendix 2, and proposed conditions from the operating schedule can be found at Appendix 3. The application is for the sale by retail of alcohol, the provision of regulated entertainment, and the provision of late night refreshment. The hotel holds a current premises licence, but the applicant wishes to amend the hours for licensable activities and include the provision of office hours. On reflection, they decided to apply for a new licence rather than a variation. Comparison between the current licence and the new application can be seen within these papers that's there. And the current licence can be found at Appendix 4. The Wookey Hole Hotel opened in 2010 and operates year-round, providing 58 ensuite standard, double and luxury family rooms. The hotel is situated within the village of Wookey Hole, and is part of the renowned tourist attraction Wookey Hole Caves. The hotel has a restaurant and bar, which is open daily for non-residents. Excuse me. It's open for non-residents as well as guests visiting the tourist attraction, and caters for other events such as weddings, theatre shows, and corporate engagements. The report then goes on to show a comparison between the current licence and the application for the new grant. A total of 8 representations have been received from other persons against the application. An overview of these representations can be found at Appendix 5, and the representations themselves can be found between Appendix 6 and 13. The representations raise concerns in relation to all 4 of the licensing objectives. There have been no representations made by any responsible authority. And that concludes my opening, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Godley. Okay, so I'll start with I'm sorry, sir, I didn't take your name. Mr. Tetley, thank you. Do you have any questions for the licensing officer?
I just had 2 questions. One was, does late night refreshment include the sale of alcohol?
No, that does not. Late night refreshment is the sale of hot food or drink between the hours of 2300, 11 p.m. and 0500, 5 a.m.
So when you say or drink, you mean non-alcoholic drink?
Yes.
Okay. And the other question was whether you have, or your predecessor, Ms. Dennis, have any more information about the actual operation of the licensable activities apart from alcohol sales, i.e. What films, what sporting activities, where in the premises they would take place, any areas of the premises adapted for those purposes?
That will come down to the plan of the premises, and whereby on the plan it will show you the licensed area for those activities. And so the licensable activities that have been applied for would apply to the plan and anything within the red line on the plan.
So that includes the 58 bedrooms, as well as the bar area. That's the area on the dog leg there. So they're going to show films in bedrooms and so on. I just wasn't clear about, and the application doesn't say how they're going to do it and what they're going to do.
I'm sure the applicant will explain that when they give their presentation.
Thank you.
I'll invite the applicant to ask any questions of the licensing officer you may wish, and if you answer the gentleman's query, that would be wonderful as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. If it's possible, I'd just like to give an overview before doing that of the application.
Yes, but I'd be grateful if you'd introduce yourself.
Sorry, my name's Ian Wilson from Wookey Hole, and Goodchild also from Wookey Hole. We don't have any questions to ask at this stage, but in terms of an introduction or an overview, it's not my intention to repeat the detail of the application, as that has been provided within the pre-circulated pack. However, I'd like to provide a short overview to help with context. Wookey Hole Hotel has been open for 14 years and is an integral part of the wider Wookey Hole business. The hotel has 58 bedrooms available, operates year-round, and has significant car parking facilities available for guests. The hotel presently caters for a wide variety of audiences, including people visiting Wookey Hole Caves who also wish to stay in the area, people attending a variety of events at Wookey Hole, including, for example, weddings, shows, parties and dinners, contractors and business people working in the local area and the wider region, people taking holidays and leisure breaks in the local area and the wider region. The hotel operates in a very competitive market and must compete with other accommodation providers and establishments within a 60-minute drive time. To help us remain competitive and be able to adapt to opportunities that may arise, we would like to have greater flexibility within our premises licence. Hence, we've decided to submit a new application. In preparing this application, we've consulted with the Somerset Council Licensing Authority, Somerset Council's Environmental Protection Team, and the Avon and Somerset Constabulary Liquor Licensing Officer. As a result of these meetings, we have included conditions within our application that we believe help to promote the 4 licensing objectives. When preparing the application, we consider the range of activities and associated operating times that we would like to be able to offer. And whilst we've requested a number of finish times that are later than our existing premises licence, there are other elements that we have removed. For example, our present licence allows for the following regulated activities to take place outdoors: plays, live music, recorded music, performance of dance, and anything of a similar description to live music, recorded music, or performance of dance. These outdoor elements have been removed from the new application. Whilst within the new application we have requested longer hours for the sale of alcohol, it does not mean to say that we will use such a facility each and every night, in much the same way that we don't presently stay open every Friday and Saturday till 2 a.m, even though our premises licence allows for it. However, we would like the ability to be able to do so when we feel it will help us to meet the needs and wants of our guests or the business. Presently, we have to cease the sale of alcohol at midnight from Sunday through to Thursday, irrespective of the number of people in the bar. That obviously impacts on the finances of the business and the guest experience. Likewise, we've requested a start time of 6 a.m. for the sale of alcohol. We would not anticipate using this every day. However, we would like the flexibility to be able to do so if we wish to. This could be for something like a champagne breakfast or for drinks to accompany international sporting events such as the Football or Rugby World Cup. The leisure market has changed significantly since the hotel first opened. Weddings, functions and events are often booked throughout the week and are no longer focused primarily on Fridays and Saturdays. Guests are looking for much greater flexibility and venues that can accommodate accordingly. Hence, we are also looking for extended hours through the week. It should also be remembered that many people are enjoying a break when staying at the hotel. It's their holiday or leisure time. And as such, focus should not purely be on extended hours on a Friday and Saturday, as many guests take short breaks during the midweek period and they may well wish to enjoy a drink later into the evening. When considering the requested finish times, it should also be noted that a large number of guests using the hotel facilities will actually remain on site at the end of an evening, as they will be residents of the hotel. Within the application, we are also seeking permission to utilise a small area of outdoor seating located close to the hotel for the consumption of alcohol. Hence, we've requested both on and off sales. To this end, we have formulated an outdoor management plan that's been reviewed by both the local authority and the police. Within this, we've included an outdoor finish time of 11 p.m. and included the installation of CCTV cameras that can be monitored from the hotel. We believe this facility would enhance the guest experience, and note that 2 establishments in the village, the Wookey Hole Inn and the Wookey Hole Social Club, already have licences that include on and off sales and have outdoor facilities for the consumption of alcohol. Of the representations made by local residences, 3 addresses are located closer to these establishments than they are the Wookey Hole Hotel. Within the representations made, there is also mention of protecting children from harm. And to this end, we've included within the application the steps to promote the 4 licensing objectives. In addition, Wookey Hole has a detailed safeguarding policy in place, and all of these items have been discussed and shared with the police and the local authority. As an operator of a family attraction, we are very accustomed at managing the needs of the family market. We welcome thousands of guests to the hotel each year, with many of these visitors travelling from other parts of the country. These are guests that stay with us, but also spend their time in the local area. We therefore believe we have an important role to play in helping to support and contribute to the local economy and tourism industry, and also in helping to provide employment opportunities for people living in the local area. The aim of our application is to help future-proof the business, and we would therefore like to secure a premises licence that will meet the needs of the business as we move forward. I'm sure those involved today will appreciate the time and energy involved with preparing an application of this nature, and that is something we would ideally not wish to revisit for a period of time. I can assure you that we're very conscious of our responsibilities in terms of managing the hotel in a safe and responsible manner, and we are also aware of the need for us to be a good neighbour. In closing, we are seeking a premises licence that allows us to be flexible and adaptable and meet the needs and wants of our guests and the business, enhance elements of the guest experience and provide the kind of service levels that other hotels are able to, achieve our commercial objectives, which in turn will allow us to reinvest in the business, and also play an active role in encouraging tourism, leisure and business guests to the local area, which in turn helps to support the local economy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Colleagues, do we have any questions at this point for the applicant or for the licensing officer? Marvus?
Thank you for that. It was quite comprehensive, actually. I suppose I'm looking at some of your, what you say you were going to do in your operating schedule. You said talk about doors and windows being closed during, I don't think what the wording was. That's all very well in March. What happens if we have, the actual, we have a hot June or early start of July? Obviously, it will rain in August. But what are you going to do then with doors and windows?
So within, we have a noise management plan that would accompany this, and we've suggested or proposed a a time of 11 p.m. to close doors and windows. So there will be no noise after that time. So that's the proposal as it stands.
Is the premises air conditioned?
No,
No.
no.
There might be a couple more actually. Yeah, I think that is probably my only question at the moment. But if I may come back if I suddenly think of something in a minute.
So, do you have any questions for the applicant?
A couple of ones. You mentioned an outdoor management plan with a 11 a.m. finish, I think I heard. Sorry, 11 p.m. finish. I don't see any mention of the plan in the application or in the steps to promote for licensing obligation, certainly not in that detail. There's reference to a noise management plan to be created and a management plan produced to cover the outdoor area. Is that done, and is that what you're referring to?
So in terms of those, we have a number of internal policies. We checked with the licensing officer at the time of making the submission, and there wasn't a requirement to submit those plans. They're obviously our operating procedures. We've run through those with the police and the licensing authority, but we can make those available if necessary.
Yes, because that picks up on a point that I will make about people in the village knowing what plans there are and being able to refer easily to them if there are any concerns. You mentioned a comparison between the Wookey Hole Inn and the Wookey Hole Club regarding beer garden, shall we call it? Would you agree that the area that you're proposing, which is hatch blue on the premises plan, and which I think the committee know about because they visited, I think it's an area with a number of benches on the left-hand side of the path that goes up to Mendip Lodges. Would you agree that that's rather different from the beer gardens for the inn and the club, which are walled areas behind the premises, not accessible from anywhere apart from the through the licensed premises, whereas your area is exposed and has no noise mitigation around it, no lighting at the moment, and will need more lighting brought in and arrangements for safe movements between the bar and the drinking area.
I think for us to draw a comparison, I think we've highlighted an area that we believe is a suitable area for the provision of outdoor seating. Spoke with the police, spoke with the licensing authority in advance. So without drawing comparisons, the others are just simply highlighting that there was other facilities available. We believe the area highlighted is a suitable area for its purpose.
And do you think it's adequately supervisable, particularly at night, from the bar itself within the hotel premises?
Yes, so we had a detailed conversation with the police, and we agreed that we would install CCTV that would take images straight back to the hotel so it could be monitored permanently, and also keep a regular observations on the area. It can be clearly seen from the restaurant. So yes, we believe there is suitable arrangements in place to supervise the area.
So it would be okay to have that sort of thing as a condition so that people know what's going to be there and can call you to account if it's not there, for example?
So our understanding is, and following the conversations with the police, they were happy with the conditions that are proposed on the licence, and we would have a management plan that included those, but they wouldn't be factored into the conditions.
Okay. And just I find the point that the emphasis of your presentation has clearly been on alcohol supplies, which obviously cause most people concern. I'm just interested in the remaining licensable activities that you're asking to be able to do between these 20 out of 24 hours. They seem to me more to relate to the mill itself and things that the mill is capable of doing. Is there actually any provision in the hotel for any of those other licensable activities except for late night refreshment?
I think, as I said in the application, we're looking for the flexibility and the ability to be able to deliver those activities and incorporate it into one premises licence. So yes, we do have the ability to do those at the mill that operates under a separate premises licence, but this would also give us the flexibility to utilise the hotel if we wish to.
So would it be right for me to assume that things like music would be in that area where the bar is, that's the dogleg bit on the plan here, and not in the 58 rooms down the long?
Yes, that's the most likely destination. In terms of the red line around, that was the best way to define the premises within the structure of the hotel. But yes, the majority of the activity would be concentrated in the restaurant/bar area.
Okay. So just one final point, if I may, Chairman. In the current licence, doors and windows are to be closed after 2100 hours, 9 o'clock on the nights when there is live or recorded music, and noise levels to be recorded for anything after 2200 hours. Is there any reason for making 11 o'clock rather than 9 o'clock for closing the doors and windows? Councillor Kravitz mentioned weather conditions, but otherwise, why not keep them closed as from 9 as at the moment?
I think it goes back to the point that was highlighted really on a warm summer's evening. It's realistic that that evening will be, still quite warm through to later in the evening, and we're just making provision for that really.
No other questions, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. If you think of something else, attract my attention. Okay, Councillor Powers.
Chair, apologies, it's not that I thought something else, I was sending remember something else. Obviously, I didn't have enough sugar in my coffee this morning. I think, because at the moment, obviously, you have till 2 o'clock on a Friday and a Saturday evening. And I obviously understand what you said in your presentation, about the other nights of the week. Have you had any complaints about your anything, serving until 2 o'clock? Have you had any complaints that's arisen by your licensing hours on a Friday and Saturday night? And if so, how have you dealt with them?
So we've looked back through recent records and we can't find anything. I don't know whether the local authorities had anything reported to itself with regards to those evenings, but in terms of historical log relating to the hotel, we don't appear to have anything recorded.
Bring Officer Godley in at this point.
Thank you, Chair. I've checked our records and we've received no noise complaints at all from the hotel itself. The only complaint we have received is in relation to a large light that was illuminating Wookey Hole, I think, but that's been rectified, I think.
Okay, thank you. Marcus, have you finished?
Yes.
Okay, Tony?
Thank you.
Any questions? No. Okay. Right. Do you have any questions for the licensing officer?
Chairman.
I don't. I just want to pick up on you mentioned there had been a complaint about the light. Now, my understanding was after our site visit that was a question of re-angling the light to make sure it didn't cause that, and that has been attended to. So I understand. Is that correct? Is that your understanding, Mr. Godley? Yeah.
Yes, that is my understanding.
And can I be a nuisance? Just on the question of lighting, may I just make one more question for Mr. Wilson? As well as the CCTV, presumably in order for that to be effective, more lighting will be needed to that area because there isn't any specific lighting to that proposed outdoor drinking area.
Again, within the outdoor management plan, we've said we will assess the situation as to what lighting is necessary and make sure it is appropriate both for guests and also to make sure there's no wider impact onto residents or wildlife or anything of that nature. So we're conscious of that and would need to ensure that any lighting that is installed is appropriate.
else here, nobody else representing, it's gone 10:30. I think we might now assume that the individuals we thought were coming are not going to make it. There's nothing I can do about that. If they do turn up, I will give them the opportunity to speak. Because I think it's only
Would you like me to go to reception to see if anyone's there? Okay.
Okay. And right, do we have any other questions for the applicants or the objectors? Others?
Is the objector?
Okay, so do you have any final questions before we move on? Yeah. Now, sorry, my apologies, I didn't explain that very well. This is now your opportunity to present your case.
Thank you, Chairman. So my name is Ivor Tetley. I live in Wookey Hole at the junction with Milton Lane and the High Street as you come into the village. I didn't get involved in the previous application in 2011 or whenever it was, but have had a look at this one. As I mentioned when talking to Mr. Wilson, my concerns relate to particularly the request for permission for outdoor alcohol consumption, because otherwise I'd welcomed the decision to have all other licensable activities indoor only. I'm skeptical about how they will operate films and things like that, and there's no information about it in the application or the operating schedule of the application as to how that will happen. And I don't know how it's worked in the years that they've had the current license. So outdoor alcohol consumption, I understand the committee's had the opportunity to visit the premises, and I hope has seen and understood the location that's Hatch Blue on the plan, which is a raised area of ground on the far side of the car park from the licensed premises themselves, or the bar itself, with a number of benches, and I understand that's where outside alcohol is intended to be consumed. It's quite a tricky area to get to from the hotel across the car park. It'll need more lighting. We now hear that I've heard that there will be CCTV installed and some provision for drinking to end at 11 a.m. But that's in a operating schedule which we haven't seen, and according to the steps to promote the licensing objections, isn't due to be published or critiqued by local authority of police. According to what it says there, it's available, it's to be produced and available upon request. The concern is about particularly disturbance from noise from that area, and also there will be light as well, because we've heard that there will need to be additional lighting to be discussed. As Mr. Godley has mentioned, there has been an issue about lighting generally, and that's in abeyance, but may arise again because the lights are still where they were before. So light disturbance, noise disturbance from the outdoor alcohol consumption, disturbance for guests in the hotel and in the 58 rooms, children in the hotel, prevention of harm for children, as I've mentioned, so that's my principal concern in terms of the proposed changes. I don't see clearly what the extended hours bring to the business that it hasn't got covered reasonably already. The other licensed premises within the village have the more restricted hours and the weekend option, the longer weekend hours, and the option to apply for special events is available to them. And I'm not clear why these premises should be treated differently, bearing in mind the village location, extra noise, more traffic movements that are likely to be associated with it. I did also touch on operating conditions. We were asked to talk about suggested conditions that could be added to the licence. I think the committee's had the opportunity to read them for what they're worth. My sort of approach to it was that the suggestion of perhaps brevity, which is in the proposal from the applicant, doesn't necessarily equal clarity, and that it is helpful on these sorts of things to have some things specific. Mr. Wilson's mentioned 11 a.m. to stop drinking out there. Then that should be there as a condition. Closing windows, that should be there as a specific condition, because the layperson in the village trying to pick up on things doesn't have anything to hang their hat on. And the opportunity for conditions, management plans, and so on should be available for inspection by members of the public, should be available specifically being produced to police and or licensing authority. Contact phone number for local residents, as I think is in the mill conditions, and a written log of complaints received and kept, made available to police and or licensing authority and or local residents. So, as I say, brevity isn't necessarily helpful when trying to manage these situations. And I have to say that the Caves has been good, or some say better, at opening up lines of communication with the village. There's a residents' email group, which has been helpful. But contact numbers, people to call to account, is equally helpful to the residents in dealing with any issues that might arise. So otherwise, everything that I've said in my submission is there for the committee to read. Main concern, noise, vehicle movements, and the outside drinking lights, and emphasis on alcohol sales, not necessarily the best thing for preventing harm to children.
Okay, thank you, sir. Right, we're going to move on now. I wonder whether, Mr. Wilson, there's anything you'd like to add at this stage. It's your opportunity to do so.
I think just in response to that, there would only be one point I would pick up, and I think a lot of the things we tried to address in advance, but I appreciate Mr. Tetley speaking after us. I understand that. I think the distinction between us and the other two premises in the village is we have 58 bedrooms, so we're a hotel with a substantial number of people staying on site. So I think that's the distinction we would draw there. But otherwise, I think everything else that we mentioned in the introduction stands.
Could I also add, sorry, just that we do have a direct line of communication for everybody. So we offer a 24/7 telephone service for anybody who wants to speak to anybody.
Thank you. That was my next question. Thank you for that. Okay. Marcus, questions?
If I go first on the questions, yeah, thank you, Mr. Tetley. Quite comprehensive, actually. Thank you. Actually, the more comprehensive it is, the less questions, I suppose. What I did want to ask, though, was you talked about the need for them to do it, or to have the later license in the week. Sorry, I'll pull that slightly closer. Would you say that obviously their reasons for wanting to do it is a commercial decision? So they, I think, as I explained earlier, but you talked about the other premises in the village not being treated the same with different licensing hours. Do you know, have those other premises actually ever applied for later hours that they've got already and been refused?
I believe that they may, from time to time, have applied for a temporary, I'm not quite sure, temporary event license for maybe the football matches that have been mentioned. I couldn't be specific. Mr. Godley may have access to further information, but my understanding is that they use the temporary event option when they need it.
Can you just confirm, because you talked about management plans being open to the public? Well, and I just wanted to get clarity of what you actually mean by that, because I would have thought a business wouldn't necessarily want their management plans being open to the public. I mean, some of it might be commercially sensitive. So I just wondered if you could sort of expand on what information you sort of would like everybody in the village to be able to see. Yeah.
My reference is specifically to the management of the licensed premises. So things like doors and windows opened and closed, things like maintaining CCTV, the sorts of things that are mentioned as consistent in Appendix 2 to the current license. Staff on reception said that I won't go through them, but that sort of thing, not about who they're trying to target in their advertising and so on. So management of the licensed premises plan.
Okay, right. Jack, if you're...
Just like to come back and just sort of clarify, because we have mentioned the operating schedule that's there for the licensed premises. Within the application that any applicant submits, part of the application, Part M, is the part there which asks the applicant to describe the steps you intend to take to promote the 4 licensing objectives. And that's classed as the operating schedule, and then conditions are made from that's there. So that would be the operating schedule that they're actually commenting on.
Can I comment? Yes, I appreciate that. I think that I understood that, which is why I was looking at that in comparison to Annex 2, conditions consistent with the operating schedule, because Annex 1 to the current license is mandatory conditions about so on. So I was comparing that to that and drawing the conclusion that this was, dare I say, woolly, not as clear in certain areas as this one is, and also not, for example, saying a noise management policy should be submitted by the applicant and agreed by the licensing authority. The new proposal is a noise management plan will be created. So I appreciate that that's that, but I was critiquing that.
I'd just like to confirm that, Mr. Tetley, that that's what you've included in your representation to sort of bolster up the conditions.
That was what I was doing in the section about suggested conditions, yes, and cross-referring and trying to.
The committee, the panel has that, and so they'll be referring to that in their decision then.
That's right. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, do you have any comments? Marcus, you have a further question? My apologies.
I have one other question. Actually.
My apology.
We're talking about the seating area, that scene. At the moment, I assume, have you had any instances of noise coming from, that seating area already? Because I mean, it's in existence. Is it causing a problem? Has anybody reported that to anyone?
I'm not aware of anything, because from regular dog walking, opening, closing the church, which is opposite, it's not used after dusk. So it's a picnic area. There's another, I think it might be described as that. There's another one up on the hill above. So no, there are other picnic areas on the site, one down by the River Axe, and I'm not aware of any, apart from families playing ball games and things like that, but there are no alcohol sales or alcohol consumed there. So this is a new situation being created with certain new aspects to it, as in CCTV, lighting, management, etc.
Mr. Wilson, is there anything you'd like to add at this stage before we go into recess and discuss this amongst ourselves?
No, nothing else from us.
I don't think I've got anything to add. Thank you for hearing what I had to say.
Thank you, Chair. The subcommittee must consider this application on its own merits and from the information contained within the application and this report. Members are reminded that the duty of the licensing authority is to take steps necessary to promote the licensing objectives in the interests of the wider community. The licensing objectives as follows: prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, protection of children from harm. In this decision-making process, the licensing subcommittee must have regard to the Licensing Act 2003 and subsequent amendments, the statutory guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, Somerset Council's statement of licensing policy. The policy is available on request and from the Somerset Council website. The options available to the committee are as follows: grant the application with no modifications and only attach conditions as requested by the 2003 Act. These should include mandatory conditions and conditions consistent with the operating schedule. Grant the application modified to such an extent as the licensing authority considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. Refuse the application, giving reasons for its decision. Should the committee be mindful to attach conditions to the licence, they must only do so if they are appropriate, necessary and proportionate, precise, clear and unambiguous, practical, realistic and enforceable, non-duplicative or existing statutory requirements or offences, modern and fit for purpose. The licensing authority recognise that most licence holders seek to follow the law, and any enforcement action will normally follow a graduated approach, and in the first instance will include education and support. Where licence holders continue to flout the law or act irresponsibly, firm action will be taken.
Okay. Right. Well, we've reached the point where the committee will deliberate. You will be invited back into the room to hear our decision in due course. I don't think it's going to be an extraordinarily long time, but it will be a few minutes. So you'll be more than welcome to wait in reception, and we'll come and collect you and read our decision at time. So I don't think it's going to be several hours, all right, but it will be a few minutes. Okay, so I'll close this section of the.
You can go ahead, Chair, if you're ready.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for waiting to hear the results of the subcommittee's hearing. I'm going to start off by saying that we've agreed to allow the licence. There will be a number of conditions, which I'm going to turn to our lawyer, Leslie Dolan, who's going to go through the minutiae with you. But I'd like to thank you again for your presence. We did consider all the documentation that was presented, including those by people that weren't able to attend. Mr. Tetley's attended, and obviously it's regrettable that they weren't here to expound on their views. But I did delay the meeting for a short while to try and allow them to arrive if they were merely delayed by traffic. But in the end, I couldn't delay the hearing any longer. So that's where we are. I'm now going to turn over to our our legal officer, Leslie.
Thank you, Chair. The Chair has asked me to indicate, and this will be included in the decision notice, which will come out to everybody in written form. They are grateful to Mr. Tetley for his oral submissions today, and in particular his proposed conditions, which he sets out in his written representation. They have taken those into consideration and take the view that all of them can be included in a noise management plan. And the proposal for a noise management plan, which is proposal 5 in the proposed conditions at Appendix A, will be amended slightly so that it reads, a noise management plan will be created and approved by this council and be available upon request to any third party from the premises. So on that basis, as you've heard, the Chair has said the licence is to be granted in the terms as applied for with conditions. These will all be set out in a written decision which you will receive. Anybody who is aggrieved by that decision will be able to apply to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days of receiving that written notice. And the further advisory to be added is that anybody who has an interest in these premises can apply to the licensing authority at any time for a review of the premises. But the caveat there is, if you are thinking of bringing an application for a review, please come with evidence. Thank you. That concludes the decision that the members have come to this morning. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much for your attendance. And as I say, the full detail of the written decision will be with you very shortly. It'll be written up this afternoon. And you've heard the caveat about if anybody wishes to use a review process, or if you wish to go to the magistrates, you will need to do so, but you only have a 21-day window to apply to the magistrate. So I'll just make those points again so everybody is clear about the process and what is required. I'd like to thank you all for attending and for being patient and waiting whilst we deliberated. And thank you very much, and good luck, everyone.
Can I just thank the committee for a fair hearing? I haven't been before, but I felt that we were able to say what we wanted to say and make points without difficulty. Much obliged.
Thank you. I'm very, very pleased that you were able to do so. Okay, thank you very much.